This is Chris Yarrington coming to you with another Mindful Monday. Today we're going to be talking about self-talk, all the things that you tell yourself up here between your eyes. And what happens is a lot of the time our self-talk can be negative. And we can actually be probably the biggest critic of ourselves. And we can say some of the meanest things that we would ever say to ourselves. If you've ever had a tough day and you've been nagging about the things that have been going wrong in your mind, you've been kind of just tearing yourself down, think about it as the way that would come across if you were to say it to anybody else. If you were to say it out loud, how would you view yourself? Would you think it's something nice, or would you think it's something not so nice to do? All right, so I want to start us there and have us think about, just the impact of the words that we say to ourselves, what they would have if we said them to somebody else. And there have been studies on self-talk and self-efficacy, which is your ability to feel that you can accomplish things, and your self-belief in yourself. So the negative self-talk has an impact on a lot of areas of your life. It can have a psychological impact, which can also lead to a physical impact. It can also change the way that you go about your life and the way that you accomplish your goals. And it can also deteriorate and bring down your relationships with people. So there's 4 areas that it can impact your life largely. And I want to talk about the psychological piece first. So the psychological side of things, your brain is really good at creating habits. Your brain is really good at making something happen over and over and over again on a consistent basis. So when we start the habit of self-talk, it's not only of negative self-talk, it's not only going to have an impact in that moment, but if you continuously do it, your mind actually creates more negative self-talk as you go. As you do it more, you're gonna do it even more and more and more and more and more. It's gonna gain momentum. So your mind actually learns the habit. When something comes in, it looks at it in a negative way. If you've ever been around someone that you're like, man, that person's really negative. Everything that comes in, seems to be, they say something negative about it. And that cynical aspect doesn't just occur. That is something that builds over time. So your brain will actually pick up habits and will actually start to do that more and more often. But the flip side is true too. You can create a habit where when a thought comes in, you can look at it and you can say, I'm going to either look at this in a negative way or I'm going to look at this in a positive way. Now, a lot of the time when something comes in, the way that we react, that's the way that we can control. The thing that we can control. Okay, we don't have the ability to control what's going to happen to us. But we do have the ability to control how we're going to react to it. And so it starts with little things, oh, I stubbed my toe. Man, I'm so stupid. How did I not see that there? Or it's, I stubbed my toe. Ow, that really hurt. Next time, I'm going to look at where I'm going better, right? I'm going to look at it in a positive, what I can do, not something that I can't do or not something that is bashing me and breaking me down, but it's looking at it as, what can I do better next time? Right? It's a silver lining. I'm going to learn from this and grow from this, and I'm going to move forward from this. Not I'm going to live and dwell on the fact that I wasn't looking where I was going and how I must be a stupid person because of that. Right? So that's the first one, is to build a positive reaction habit in your mind. Now, the physical side is we can actually, with those negative thoughts, they will release different hormones in your body. Okay, when you have a happy thought, you get a certain hormone. When you have a bad thought, you get a certain hormone. And, if we just think about it like stress, if stress is actually internal, whatever is going on, stress is internal. Stress is the pressure that we put on ourselves in our mind with the prediction of what's going to happen. So cortisol gets released when we stress. The only time that occurs naturally, based on what it was intended for, is in the fight or flight mode. When something bad is happening and we have to react, right? Adrenaline. And we gotta go. That stress is something that we use to then protect our life, which is natural and what it was intended for. But a similar occurrence happens in our mind, in our brain, when we're stressing about something. We're having little fight or flight moments. When you're stressed, you want to run the opposite direction and get the heck out of there. And you start to get your body ready to do that. But it's not because there's a tiger chasing you. It's because there's the deadline chasing you. And that's not healthy. So a lot of the time we're releasing these hormones to keep us on edge. And it has a negative impact on our health. So the negative thoughts and the stress and all of that stuff compounding on itself then creates a negative environment in our body. All right. The positive side is, we release endorphins. Like when we work out, we're happy, right? When we smile, we release endorphins, all of those things. So a positive thought is going to release endorphins, good hormones that make you feel good, or we're going to release cortisol, which is a stress response, and we're not going to be feeling so good. And these can spiral down, just like we said, they build on each other. So then we end up having the issue where we get all the way down to the end of the tunnel, and now we're looking into other clinical mental things, mental disorders, like depression and things like that, anxiety disorder, things like that. So we've got to make sure that when we start this path, we've got to shift it over to the positive. Try and not get down that negative rabbit hole. All right. So one thing that people can do, if you notice yourself waking up and being stressful right off the bat, write 3 things that you're thankful for in the morning or before you go to bed. I know it sounds crazy, but write 3 things and it will reprogram your mind, because when you write those 3 things, you start releasing endorphins in your body so that you actually start to feel better, and it will change your body's chemistry. And there have been studies that have done this as well. Okay? Now, in the aspect of how this is going to change your life, whatever we believe, if we have negative self-talk that breaks us down, there's no way you could do that. That's not possible. You're not good enough at this to do that, or you're not smart enough to do that. You're not blah, 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 to blah, 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 right? If we don't believe that we can do it, if we don't even see that it's possible, we will limit ourselves. The limitations that we put in our mind will hold us back. Humans are amazing creatures. We have such an ability to do different things and to reach levels that we never knew existed. But if we don't believe it and we can't see it, I know it sounds cliche, but if we don't believe that we can do it, we won't be able to attain our goals. We won't be able to get to our goals. We don't even know that, like the moon, if we didn't even think that getting to the moon was possible, we wouldn't have got there. But it took someone feeling that it was possible for us to even strive to try to get there. All right? So when it comes to your goals, if it's, I don't feel like it's possible for me to be under 200 pounds, or I don't think that it's possible for me to make over $100,000 in a year, or I don't think that it's possible for me to ever run a 5K or a marathon or whatever it is, right? Whatever the goal might be, if you don't think it's possible, then you will not be able to achieve it, because you will always limit yourself based on your self-talk. So the best way to be able to get to your goals, the first thing is to believe it, is to be positive in your mind. Yes, I cannot. No, I can't. It seriously makes an impact. So we've got to make that adjustment. In order for you to not limit yourself, you have to break down the mental limitations before you break down the physical ones. So your negative self-talk will get in the way of that. Your positive self-talk will get you out of the way of that. It will get you over that. It will get you past that barrier. But it's something that you have to believe and something that you have to know is able to happen. All right? The last one is going to be your relationships. And this is a big one because a lot of people, they don't realize how detrimental little negative comments and sarcastic comments how much of a negative impact they can have on their relationship. And I'll give you an example. If you have a son or daughter that comes up to you saying, "Mommy or Daddy, I'm so excited, I scored a goal," right? And you turn over to them, or you turn around to them and you say, "Hey, that goal, that was not all you're doing. The goalie missed the ball when you shot it. The goalie made a mistake. That's too bad. But yeah, you got a goal. Cool." How many times do you think your kids are going to come up to you and say, "Mommy, Daddy, I scored a goal, yay"? They're going to learn that it's not good enough. Or they're going to learn, don't do that because you're going to get negative feedback. And no one likes to come back to negative feedback. So it's going to wear away at that relationship. If you are always sarcastic with your spouse, let's say I go up to my wife and she says, "Do I look good?" "Oh yeah, you don't look bad." Every time, she's going to start feeling like, oh, he doesn't think that I look good. He doesn't think that I look pretty. He doesn't like when I'm getting all, nice for us to go out to a nice dinner. Because you're not actually saying it. You're thinking you're saying it because you're saying it you're saying the opposite in a sarcastic way. But the act of actually saying to people, "Yes, you did a good job. Yes, you look great. Yes, whatever, you're awesome." All of that makes a positive impact on your relationships and brings a positive feedback system. So they're going to keep coming back to you and they're going to keep wanting to include you. So the negativity actually starts to cut people out of your life. It starts to break down and wear. It's like little chips to a string to make it weaker and weaker and weaker, versus adding another string around what's already there, the rope that's already there, and making it stronger and stronger and stronger. So positivity is going to have a vastly impactful effect on your life, on everything included, mentally, physically, your relationships and your goals and your actual life as it takes off. So it's one of the most profound, one of the most impactful, one of the most powerful things that you can do. And it all starts with here. And a little twist of, how can I look at this glass half full? How can I see the silver lining? How can I change my first reaction from negative to positive? How can I reframe this? How can I look at this in a positive way? If you could just do that, it's going to impact your life like you have no idea. So hopefully this was helpful for you. I know it was a little longer today, but I hope that you implement this. Leave some comments below, and I'd love to hear them. And I hope that you have an amazing rest of your day. And I will see you on Friday for Fitness Friday. All right? Bye.